What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to of course be talking about with you guys. Very recently, I actually spoke about in a separate video how the Golden State Warriors are extremely interested right now in trying to trade for Philadelphia 76ers guard slash forward. I guess it's like a point forward, Ben Simmons. We've all heard about that. I spoke about that in that video, but in the video I also spoke about the fact that the Golden State Warriors are interested in trying to get Joe Ingles as well, who, again, is a sort of like a point forward, I guess, kind of a way to describe him. He does ball handle quite a bit, but he's also a very good three-point shooter and an Australian legend, of course. But it is currently being reported right now that if Utah Jazz forward Joe Ingles is indeed available up for trade, which, might I add, it has been very, very rumored that he is, and apparently they are shopping him around. The Golden State Warriors do have interest, but a quote here from Thompson Scribe of the Athletic HQ does say acquiring his $13 million expiring contract though is quite difficult. Now the thing is as well is when we look at Joe Ingles and the Utah Jazz, I think the Jazz is secretly behind closed doors that like not many people were reporting in this offseason. I think they were really trying to trade away Bojan Bogdanovic and of course Joe Ingles, because I believe Bojan's on about I think it's like an $18 million contract, and then of course Joe Ingles is on about a $12 million contract. So if you traded both of them up, you could realistically get a max play here and there. There was quite a bit of talks that they were trying to go out and get DeMar DeRozan. I just really do think that the Utah Jazz desperately need to get Donovan Mitchell some help, because Mike Conley's cool and all, he's a very good point guard, good defensively, nice playmaker. I guess he's an alright scorer. He's average, 15 points per game, but he's a great leader as well. And then you got, of course, Rudy Gobert, who's an elite defender in the NBA, if not the NBA's best defender. But I just don't think Rudy Gobert is that dude that you can, rely on when Donovan Mitchell is having a bad game. And that's what I feel like the Utah Jazz lack. They lack that second guy to rely on if Donovan Mitchell's having a bad game. Bojan's cool and all, and he can create his own shot, but I feel like he's just an elite catch-and-shoot player in the NBA, and I don't feel like he was ever going to be, that second option if Donovan Mitchell does fail to, produce. So I do think they need to go out and get a guy to help out. If they looked at Andrew Wiggins from the Golden State Warriors, that would be cool and all. But in my opinion, if the Golden State Warriors were able to get Bojan and Joe Ingles out of Andrew Wiggins, they're winning that trade. Because both of those players would be absolutely elite for the Golden State Warriors. So I think, Andrew Wiggins as well, I suppose he would be pretty good for Utah, but he's just probably not that guy. I think they need another all-star level, player to come in, because Mike Conley made the all-star team this year, but he's not, I think everyone knows this, he's not really an all-star in the NBA anymore, and I think he'll fade away a little bit. And then we look at Rudy Gobert as well. Look, he's a great defender and whatnot, but he's not that all-star that's going to be, your big second option that's going to help out if Donovan Mitchell's having a bad game. So, Donovan Mitchell, to keep him happy, I think you got to go out and get someone. I think that's why they're shopping around Joe Ingles. But in saying that, Joe Ingles would be the perfect player for the Golden State Warriors to get. But in my opinion, I think it's almost physically impossible for them to go out and do this now. They could have done Kelly Oubre. Like, Kelly Oubre signed a $13 million contract over 2 years with the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe a sign and trade of Kelly Oubre and a second round pick for Joe Ingles could have been an option. But again, I still don't feel like the Utah Jazz do that deal, because Utah aren't looking for a player like Kelly Oubre. They're looking for a guy that can, that can be, I think, that second dude. And they want to trade Bojan as well to kind of help make that happen. So Kelly Oubre, he had a very disappointing season, and a player who a lot of people would have thought would have been better than Joe Ingles somehow is looking like he's not. He averages similar points to Joe Ingles, but his efficiency is absolutely terrible. And his defense, his defense is really good, but again, his efficiency is just what lets him down. So the Warriors didn't, I guess, really mind too much by letting him go. But again, getting a dude like Joe Ingles is a it's a hard task for the Golden State Warriors. And how I think they play this out is, I don't think they make a move to try and trade for him at all. In fact, I think they remain pretty patient. I think they remain patient until, you know, something comes up at the deadline where maybe they can get him in a 3-team trade. Who knows? Maybe Andrew Wiggins isn't working out by the deadline, which I doubt it, because I think Wiggins is still a very good player and I think helps out a lot for this team. So I think people need to put the Andrew Wiggins slander to the side and realize he is a very good player still in this NBA. So we'll cut that out. I think they'll wait till next free agency where they'll see Joe Ingles. I think Joe Ingles will regress a lot this year. Like, if you watched him play for Australia, he wasn't his best. He wasn't his normal self. And that's where Joe Ingles he shines as a player for Australia. He plays a bit of a different role. He's more of a point forward there, while in the NBA, I suppose he's more of a catch and shoot player, but he also has a point forward role in the NBA. I think he's going to regress quite a bit to the point where he probably won't be looking for a big contract in free agency anyway. But as an Aussie, Aussies tend to stay loyal. So you look at Patty Mills, man, he played like 10 years for the San Antonio Spurs. Like, look at him. He's one of the most loyal players in the NBA. Look, he left Brooklyn, but I think that was left for Brooklyn rather, but I think that was mutual terms with, of course, you know, with San Antonio. Then we look at Joe Ingles. He's had opportunities to leave. He has. And he stayed with them for a long time. You know, Andrew Bogut, he stayed with the Warriors as long as he could. You know, he stayed with the Bucks as long as he could as well. I think it was mutual for him to leave the Bucks, and it was probably mutual for him to leave the Warriors. There's not really an Aussie in the NBA besides Ben Simmons that has, like, not mutually left their team or has betrayed their team or anything like that. Ben Simmons, we've heard about him. A lot of people aren't calling him a true Aussie just because of the stuff he's pulled with the 76ers, not answering their calls, but sometimes I kind of bring up who can blame him, considering they've been shopping him around all free agency. But I guess that's a different topic for a different video. Usually Aussies are extremely loyal, and what I'm trying to get at here is I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Ingles just agreed to come back on the Utah Jazz on like a minimum contract. I wouldn't see him leaving the Utah Jazz unless a real good opportunity came up elsewhere that, like, is a deal he can't say no, or it was a mutual agreement. And I think, considering the Jazz, I think maybe it'll be best for a fresh start for Joe Ingles next season. So we'll see how he goes this season. I think by the end of it, my prediction is it will be time for a fresh start. But again, it's just, does he want to work to maybe get his jersey retired? Like, people don't realize how long this guy has played for the Utah Jazz. I think he's going into his 8th season or something like that. And if he gets done with this season, doesn't get traded and whatnot, and re-signs, he'll be pushing, 10 seasons soon, and that's jersey retirement time years. Like, look at Patty Mills. They're already talking about retiring his jersey in San Antonio, and his career's not even done yet. So I think Joe Ingles, he might stay loyal, but it also might be best opportunity for him to look elsewhere, and Golden State they'd be a pretty cool team to do it. But I definitely think the Utah Jazz, they're going to be really shopping around Joe Ingles all season. Not because he's a bad player or not anything like that. I think they'll be shopping him just to try and match up contracts to go out and get like a star type player. I'm sure by the deadline there'll be a very good small forward available here and there. Most of us know this. Someone will be available. Whether that's Brandon Ingram, like, let's just say the Pelicans are having a terrible season, which I don't think they will, but let's just say they are. Brandon Ingram could be available. He's one player that will definitely be out there. So yeah, it'll be cool to see how they, of course, all do go about this. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA content and NBA news. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. And don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already, which I will all link in the description down below. And of course, don't forget, just to comment your thoughts and opinions. Joe Ingles to the Warriors. Could you guys see it happen? Do you reckon they'll try and trade for him by the deadline maybe? Or do you guys think that he might even go in next free agency? Or do you think he'll be like most Aussies and remain loyal with his team? Again, so many different possibilities, but let me know. Let me know down below what all of your thoughts and opinions are, about this. But as I was saying, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.